Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Airsoft, where today I'm going to do a disassembly on this T6 from KWA. Hey guys, and welcome back. Before we get started, if you are enjoying my content today, please do consider liking and subscribing because it massively helps me out. So today, courtesy of the lovely guys over at JTAC Customs, I've got this brand new KWA T6 M4 VM4 Recoil M4 CQB M4, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to do a disassembly video on it to sort of show you what's inside, do a bit of fact finding, just because I know some people will have questions about the compatibility parts inside. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the upper receiver off. So this pin should push out. It is quite stiff in there, so I'm just going to knock that out. I'll pop that out, and it's still a very stiff fit down there. There we go. So that's released. Pop the charging handle. Close the ejection port and slide that off. We'll just take a quick look inside there. So there is the standard KWA brass barrel, the standard hop rubber, hop unit, and I can tell from looking down by turning the hop all the way on, that is, hopefully you may be able to see down there, that is the split nub style hot rubber that we're used to seeing, which means that particularly for most British users, that hot rubber will need changing the minute you take it out of the box before it's actually really skirmishable. I do hope that KWA learn from this and change those hot rubbers up, but we'll see what happens. Other than that, to remove the front sights, flathead screwdriver, just remove the screw, the nut will come out, and these will just slide off. 3 little Allen keys, and this loosens up enough to slide off as well. The flash hider is grub screwed on. There's a little tiny grub screw inside there. Undo the little tiny grub screw, and this will come off. It's negative threaded as well, and that's the upper receiver pretty much taken care of. We'll get that out of the way. I do like the length and size of that though. It is pretty nifty. So we'll then come down to the stock. So I'm just going to fully extend the stock, and if I keep pressing down the stock release button, the stock will fully come out the back. Remove the battery cover, take that out of the way, and we're left with access to the battery compartment. And as you can see, there's a Phillips head screw in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo that. So that releases the screw and the retaining plate that keeps this battery compartment in place. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide those out of the way. And then what we have here is the back of the spring guide, the back of the gearbox. So if you push that in and twist, not even a quarter twist, just a left anti-clockwise twist, it releases it out of its things. And there is the spring guide. Now this is ultimately what you are adjusting with the FPS adjustment tool. So if I just bring that in here, and what happens is if you insert that down in here, there is a thread, and as you adjust this, you're pushing it further up and down the spring guide to adjust the FPS, and that's how that system works. And basically it puts the spring itself under more compression or less compression, which raises or lowers the FPS. So take that out of the way. Coming out the back is also the spring. Now that is a linear spring, it's not like a normal AEG spring, but this will take a normal AEG style spring. So we'll remove that for now. We've then got a little screw in the back of here, which we'll remove in a second. And we've got 2 screws in here, which we're going to remove as well to start getting down into the gearbox. So I'll just get the next tool I need. So most of these screws on here are T10 or Torx 10 screws. So if you just get a Torx head, Torx T10 screw head, screwdriver or screw head, they'll come on. A lot of these Torx screws have little washers on them, so just make sure that the washer goes back on. That's one off. That said, those are probably both. Those are on the motor grip are not T10. They look like they're T8, so Torx 8. On the pistol grip, take that one out, and that one is even smaller. Now I've had to switch to an Allen key wrench or a X head wrench. So the one I've used there, I release the pistol grip. So the one I've used there is a 564 apparently. So quite a small Allen key head. So I'll keep those both on the side because I know I'm going to need those. Remove the base plate, and there is the motor. Now if you notice there, the black wire is at the front and the red wire is at the back. That's different to normal AEGs. Now as I lift those wires out, you'll see it appears that they both come up the front. So I'll just lift the wire out. That's the anti-shorting system there on the motor. I can confirm that the red wire comes up the front. It seems to have been compressed under the motor, as you can see, and it comes up the front and over and onto the red contact at the back of the pistol grip. And the black wire comes up the front, comes up the back and crosses over and close onto the black wires actually come across the side of the pistol grip, up the side of the motor and onto the front terminal. So just be aware of that when you're messing with the motor in there. We'll undo the two Phillips heads that are down in here. That's one done. And that's the other one done. So very carefully pulled the wires out, get that out of the way. So we're nearly down to getting the gearbox out and having a look inside it. So I'm just going to lift this off. So what I did there was I just unhooked the spring from the front hook there. It literally just pulls forward. So if you lift it up, pull it forward, it won't come off. And then this bit just needs pulling forward and lifting out, and then the whole assembly will ever so carefully pop off like that, and that can go out of the way and be kept safe whilst we're working on the rest of it. So I'll remove this. There we go. So just standard style M4 mag release, that's out of the way now. What we're going to do now is we're going to remove this back section here. So if this was the recoil version, this would pull that down to the bottom. This would be the buffer tube for the recoil weight. So I'm just going to unscrew this just enough so it's out of the way like that, and it frees up the wiring to come out the back of the gearbox. And then we've just got two pins left. So we've got one pin here, which is the just above the trigger, which is well in there. So that took some real force to get out there, and took some real brute force, so it's well wedged in there. And just to confirm that the threaded end, the toothed end, sat on the right, on the right hand side of the receiver as you were looking down the side. So take that out of the way, just one final body pin to get out of the way, and then so pull the last body pin out. The gearbox now just simply lifts out of place like that, very carefully taking the wires out. And we're now down to the gearbox. So on first sight it looks very similar to the TK, very similar indeed. You've got the same style selector plate, you've got these nice little markings here to indicate where safety is, single shot is, and full auto is. A little bit flimsy on the back, so if there's any issues, jams, it can cause issues and snap those quite easily. It's quite flimsy plastic, but I've only ever had that happen once. Now, by the looks on this from the outside, I would say this is not going to be Titan compatible, but we will get inside and have a look at this properly. So I'm going to bring my T10 back in. Now, fortunately, because we've got the spring out, there's no real compression under here anymore, which means we don't have to prise the spring down or anything like that. I'm just going to arrange the screws so I know where they've come from. So they're the top screws. Most of them have got little washers that are still sat in the upper part of the receiver. Little washers there, look. Get that out of the way, so that's the front screw. There's the second screw. You do not need to remove this screw, that helps to retain the dust cover that's part of the ejection port, so please leave that in place. Tightening it up can cause damage to your dust cover. Next one, and last but not least, so we should be able to now just very carefully split this. There we go, and there it goes. There we go. And there's all the little washers falling out. So lift that out of place. There's the piston. Okay quality air seal. I can still push it down and get it down to the front. If I remove the air nozzle, much better. It's almost solid within a few mils of going past the air vent. Actually, I'm looking at this, there's no actual working cutoff on this. I was actually wrong, there's no actual cutoff feature on this. You could actually, by the looks of this, put a Titan in this. I believe that this has opened up the right kind of gearbox to have a Titan installed. So if people did want to put a Titan in, this is now a possibility with this gearbox, which is pretty heartening really that that's a possibility. So there's your trigger block, and your contacts, your gear set, really nice solid gear set, good quality wiring, all put out of the way, nice solid gearbox all round, and handles the test of time well. The main thing I would say is make sure you change the hot rubber, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope this has been useful to you guys. Obviously, to reassemble, just watch this video back in reverse. So thanks for watching. If it's been useful or if you've enjoyed this today, please do like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.